All right. So now let's get virtual again. Next up is Johanna Montilla. And with her, we are traveling all the way to Canada, Toronto. Johanna was born and raised in Venezuela until one day when she moved to Canada. Believer in new beginnings, Johanna is addicted to chocolate, coffee, and books with AGA. She completed a certificate program in creative writing at the University of Toronto. She has been published in Spanish and English and frequently reviews arcs on NetGalley, Goodreads, and her blog. Her first language is Spanish and her second language is English. And tonight she's going to read The Listmaker, a personal essay which was published in Tint's issue Fall 21 for us. So here's Johanna for you.
Thank you, Lisa. Thank you for the invitation, and I am so grateful to be here. I am going to read The Listmaker. This is a personal story about that first year I moved to Canada and all the journey and all the challenge that we overcome in that year. And the full version, you can, if you like it, the full version you can read in the Tint Journal website. I am a planner. I go through the day with a notepad, a checklist, and a pen in my pocket. I am good at organizing anything, from large and important events to the messiest cabinet full of plastic containers. I love to be prepared, to have a plan B under my sleeve. Some people might say it is too stressful, but not for me. Order is easier, peaceful. It keeps my work functioning. Or it used to, until one day I had to plan the biggest event of all. It took my husband and me a few years of discussions and 2 columns full with pros and cons. Finally, one day we looked at our flow chart and the answer was right there in colorful letters surrounded by pictures of Vancouver, Toronto, the CN Tower, Niagara Falls. Pro have won, and we agreed to move our family to Canada. In that instant, I grabbed my pen and I started writing down a list of every list I needed to make our transition as smooth as possible. Travel arrangement, business obligation, job resignation, things to sell, to give away, and treasures to keep. Today, I have the strength to admit that list was the most difficult to make. How to choose which ones are the most important memories to take with us. It was a strange selection process. Some things didn't get a second look. Others landed in the replaceable category. I decided to bring with me at the end the things that I hope to become my daughter's heirlooms, like family photos, the tiara I wore when I got married, souvenirs we bought in our honeymoon, and the guardian angel portrait my dad gave me when I was a toddler. My husband was a little more practical. He's mostly cared about those value documents that would make our settlement easier. With my daughter, I have to compromise. She couldn't bring her entire room full of toys, but I let her pick her favorites. Meanwhile, every time I scratch a task at a dawn, I got this weird feeling in my stomach, but I didn't have the time to figure it out. It wasn't on the list. The moment our departure arrived one morning in June, that day, my husband, our daughter, and I stood in the airport gates surrounded by 6 suitcases filled with the remains of our memories on what we left from those 10 years building a family. Our closest family and my best friend joined us to say farewell. Their hugs were packed with encouragement and support, things that I needed desperately. I crossed the door to the security area without looking back. My eyes were fixed on our new life waiting at the other side of the next door. We boarded the airplanes. I took a deep breath, doing a mental check, and I realized it was done. We'd made it. We were on our way to the life we planned so many months ago. Then I cried. I cried so much and for so long, scared and hopeful, tired, but also ready. We landed at Pearson Airport in Toronto at midnight. After a never-ending and meticulous paperwork for new permanent residents, we drove for 40 minutes to Burlington City. There, in a hotel room with 2 beds, exhausted and overwhelming, we fell asleep almost instantaneously. The next day, after the first cultural shock, breakfast without our traditional arepas, I wrote down a new list with things we needed to do first. It was there at the sad moment when our life took 3 different roads, one for each member of the family. My daughter, with barely 2 sentences in her English vocabulary, I am allergic, and I am only speak Spanish, jumped into her new reality, a little scared, but also determined to find the girl who would later become her new best friend. Today, my daughter is a high school student taking AP classes, and as she usually affirms, she is as Canadian as the maple syrup. For my husband, in that first month, he got his driving license, and I found a job even though it wasn't in his field. He would later switch to a different company. Then step by step, he worked his way until finally he got the phone call of his dream job. In my case, things didn't work as I planned. The best way to explain my first year of arrival, and yes, sometimes I feel like I was an alien crashing on Earth, is to picture a child learning to walk, standing off and falling. It makes parents proud to watch their kids try once and again. But if the child feels like I feel that year, there is no pride, more like a silent screaming of frustration. The first time my list let me down happened in our search for a place to live. It's not easy if you know almost nobody to be your reference. In the end, we found a nice apartment, but then I have an ambition list of furnitures and appliances that I need to adapt one more time. I adjust my wardrobe too. I said goodbye to my awesome high heels in exchange for flat and of course the necessary winter boots. Another challenge was to find people to connect with. Sure, mostly everybody was nice and polite, but I needed somebody different from my husband or my people back home. Someone new. I needed a friend. A few months later, the moment came when I realized my list had lost its magic, and therefore I lost my superpowers. I didn't matter the number of recommendations or references I brought with me, or the accomplishments or school degrees. I convinced myself that my English wasn't that good enough. Therefore, I didn't even try to find a position related to my career. I applied to more than 20 companies, just one called for an interview. It turned out I needed Canadian experience. Honestly, I get it. I guess if I were on the other side, I would ask for the same. The problem is how to gather that kind of experience without the opportunity. With the time, I got to be the best at customer service. Also, my organizing addiction gave me the chance to experience management and leadership. However, part of me missed a girl in high heels and suits. At some point, I lost her. Worse, I lost her strength. The list didn't work. What was the point of dedication or having dreams and hope? All my lists went to the same plane as my expectations, the garbage can. For a while, I quit writing lists even for groceries. But the sense of running in freedom or detachment because I didn't need a list anymore, it never came. Soon, I feel like a person scared of the dark at closest space, trapped in a small room with the light off. My life turned into a chaos. What was I doing? It happened one New Year's Eve. It may have to do with the idea of new beginnings and fresh starts. I looked through the window thinking about the tradition back home and the thoughts of 365 days ahead of me, full of possibilities. So many new pages asking for ideas, plans, and new lists. The organizing in me wake up, taking charge again. I took a piece of paper and I wrote a few resolutions. Nothing crazy or over the top, more like baby steps. The next year I try again, and then the year after that, until I found myself again. the list maker. Although I confess I haven't made peace with myself yet, sometimes I am like a puppet, letting my doubts take over me. I hope someday it'll happen, that I gave myself the chance to feel complete. After all, it's part of my list. For now, I am content with contemplating some of the check marks I made so far. Got new friends, became a citizen, got my driving license, quit my job and got a better one, earned a certificate in creative writing program, and after fighting some demons, I've taken some classes in the law field. There is so much more on my list. I am not even close to be done. Thank you.